The tide abyss was silent, a silence so deep that even divine sense seemed unwilling to sink into it. Somewhere within that endless darkness, something sealed long ago was still breathing, not alive, not dead, but waiting. Wang Lin stood alone amid the countless branching cracks of the abyss, his expression calm, yet his heart weighed down by an invisible pressure. He knew that once he took another step forward, he would no longer be searching for someone. He would be challenging the will of a cultivator who had defied the heavens. If you enjoy my way of explaining and storytelling, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really motivates me to keep creating. The five of them descended cautiously into the ravine. Wang Lin did not lead the way. Instead, he flew slightly to the right, his gaze sweeping across the ravine walls as he descended. The walls were unnaturally smooth, as though they had been cleaved by an incomparably sharp blade. When Wang Lin's right hand brushed against the stone, a bone-chilling cold surged through his fingers and seeped into his body. As they continued downward, the surroundings gradually grew darker. Yet this darkness posed no obstacle to cultivators. Celestial spiritual energy gathered in their eyes, allowing them to perceive their surroundings with clarity. The deeper they descended, the more cracks appeared along the walls, branching outward like the limbs of a colossal tree. Each branch resembled a pitch-black cavern, even with celestial spiritual energy condensed in their eyes. Some of these caves were so deep and dark that their interiors remained unfathomable. When the number of branching paths reached a certain point, Jian abruptly halted in mid-air. Murongzhuo's expression remained icy as ever. Seeing Jian stop, he frowned slightly but said nothing. Zhao Yixuan and Xu Fei also came to a stop, their gazes sweeping across the surroundings. These countless branching paths looked like enormous open maws, silently waiting for prey to wander inside. Everyone, Jian said calmly, "I believe there are treasures hidden within these cracks. The deeper we go, the more of them will appear. Since we came here for treasure, what happens next will depend entirely on our own abilities." With that, he drifted toward one of the cracks. Murongzhuo hesitated briefly before choosing another path and flying into it. Zhao Yixuan let out a light chuckle. "Why doesn't senior apprentice brother Wang take a look around as well? Perhaps you'll come across an unexpected harvest." Wang Lin shook his head. His eyes were calm and indifferent. He neither searched the surrounding cracks nor slowed down, continuing his descent without hesitation. Watching Wang Lin's retreating figure, Zhao Yixuan's eyes brightened slightly. She turned and entered a crack along the wall with Xu Fei closely following behind her. As Wang Lin descended, he glanced back toward the direction the two women had taken, a thoughtful look appearing in his eyes. Why do those two feel strange? He withdrew his gaze and looked downward. The ravine appeared bottomless, its depths shrouded in endless darkness. Wang Lin had no idea how far it extended. They had already descended for a long time before stopping earlier, yet the bottom remained nowhere in sight. Even Beilu's crystal couldn't see the bottom of this tide abyss. All I know is that this place contains a vast winding corridor that connects the 5 entrances. As for the exit, there is only one. A sharp glint flashed in Wang Lin's eyes. Instead of continuing downward, he suddenly flew upward. Almost immediately, he felt an immense pressure pressing down from above. "So that's how it is," he murmured inwardly. "This is merely an entrance, not an exit. If one attempts to force their way out through here, the resistance will only grow stronger." After confirming his suspicions, Wang Lin stopped in mid-air and carefully surveyed his surroundings. Cracks riddled the cliff walls, but after a brief scan, he withdrew his gaze. Countless people must have entered the tide abyss over the years. Even if there were treasures within these cracks long ago, they've likely all been taken by now. Another 1,000 feet below lies one of the most dangerous areas I discovered with the crystal. Wang Lin's expression remained calm as he hovered in place. Before long, Murongzhuo descended from above and stopped beside him. He nodded slightly. After a moment of silence, he suddenly asked fellow cultivator Wang, "Are you familiar with this place?" Wang Lin looked at him and replied evenly, "There is an ancient tree growing on the cliff 1,000 feet below. That tree is extremely strange. Fellow cultivator Murong should proceed with caution. Murong Zhou was taken aback. He nodded and said nothing further. Sometime later, Zhao Yixuan and Xu Fei returned with Du Jian close behind them. When the five regrouped, it was clear none of them had obtained anything. They resumed their descent. Wang Lin deliberately slowed his speed, falling behind the others. After a moment of hesitation, Murong Zhou did the same. Jian naturally took the lead. Crossing 1,000 feet took only an instant. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed as he looked down and to the right. Through the crystal, he saw an ancient tree growing from the cliff face. The tree appeared ordinary and unimposing, yet the first time Wang Lin saw it, an intense sense of danger had surged within him. Now that he was closer, his pupils constricted. A withered tree roughly the size of a human body clung to the cliff. Dense roots spread in all directions, half dangling in the air, the rest drilling deep into the stone. Its position was extremely cunning. Directly beneath it lay a narrow gap in the cliff. The hanging roots formed a natural curtain concealing the opening. This was not the only ancient tree in the area. On the way down, Wang Lin had seen 7 or 8 similar ones. Yet only this tree had triggered such a strong sense of crisis. From within the gap beneath the roots, a faint purple crystalline glow flickered as though a treasure lay hidden there. The light was unadorned, yet it radiated a sharp, piercing aura. One glance was enough to tell it was extraordinary. There was no need to use divine sense. Anyone could see that the purple glow came from a flying sword embedded in the cliff. The moment Du Jian saw the light, his eyes lit up. He instantly stopped and stared, exclaiming, "The heavenly fate sword." His cry startled Zhao Yixuan and Xu Fei, who immediately turned to look toward the gap. Wang Lin coldly observed everything. He noticed at once that Xu Fei, the woman who appeared weak and fragile, was not looking at the gap at all, but at the seemingly inconspicuous ancient tree. A trace of icy coldness flickered through her eyes, so faint it was almost imperceptible. Du Jian took a deep breath and said solemnly, "I recognize this sword. It belongs to my master, the All-Seer." He forged a total of 7 such swords, granting one to each of his 7 true disciples as magical treasures. Over countless years, 3 of those swords vanished along with their owners. As he spoke, his gaze shifted to Wang Lin. Hesitation flickered across his face. "Junior apprentice, brother Wang. You've heard of Sun Yun, haven't you?" Wang Lin nodded, his expression unchanged. Du Jian sighed. "When Sun Yun was at the peak of his glory, I was still an ordinary disciple, and Master had not yet accepted me into the Red Division. But I remember this sword clearly. This should be the Purple Division Swordmaster bestowed upon Sun Yun when he became a true disciple." Wang Lin's gaze settled on the flying sword embedded in the gap. He remained silent. A flash of coldness crossed Du Jian's eyes as he clasped his hands toward Murong Zhuo and the 2 women. "Brother Murong Jr., apprentice, sister Zhao Jr., apprentice sister Xu, this sword belongs to my heavenly fate sect, and more specifically to the Purple Division. I ask you all to give me face and allow this sword to be handed to my junior apprentice, brother Wang. Since he is a disciple of the Purple Division, returning it to him is no different from returning it to its rightful owner. Moreover, once he acquires this sword, his standing within the Purple Division will rise dramatically." His voice was filled with apparent sincerity. Murong Zhuo's eyes remained cold, yet a strange glimmer passed through them. His response was brief. "No problem." The 2 women naturally raised no objections. Du Jian turned to Wang Lin, kindness filling his eyes. "Junior apprentice, brother Wang, although my cultivation is lower than yours, I entered the sect earlier. I hope you won't mind me addressing you this way. This sword belongs to your Purple Division. This senior apprentice brother will not take it from you, nor will I allow anyone else to do so. I only hope it will shine once more, just as it did when Sun Yun wielded it." Wang Lin calmly met Du Jian's gaze. His expression showed no sign of disturbance. "Then thank you," Wang Lin said suddenly, a faint smile appearing on his lips. He looked at Du Jian as though watching a child clumsily attempt a trick. Did this man truly believe he was some 3-year-old fool, When Jian saw that smile, an inexplicable sense of unease surged within him. He had indeed underestimated Wang Lin. In his mind, unless this bumpkin from a nearly ruined cultivation planet had stumbled upon absurd luck, how could he possibly have been accepted by the All-Seer? Jian had once come here alone. He had not descended personally, instead sending a puppet infused with a trace of his divine sense. That puppet had been attacked by this ancient tree. The experience had terrified him so thoroughly that he had not dared return to the Cloud Sea for a very long time. Only after encountering Murong Zhuo and the others did he finally dare to plan this expedition. He was confident Wang Lin would not see through his scheme. After all, the ancient tree appeared utterly ordinary, and along the way there had been many similar trees with no offensive power whatsoever. Wang Lin slapped his storage bag, and the half-moon blade appeared in his hand. With a flick of his wrist, he sent it flying. The blade moved with terrifying speed. In an instant, it plunged into the gap, hooked the flying sword, and returned to Wang Lin's hand. Everything happened too fast. So fast that the withered ancient tree seemed not to have noticed anything at all. The half-moon blade returned, and the purple flying sword landed in Wang Lin's grasp. The moment he held it, Wang Lin's eyes turned icy. He squeezed his hand. Crack! The sword shattered into countless fragments. Even the purple light vanished without a trace. How could this be the heavenly fate sword? It was nothing more than an iron sword, deliberately fashioned to resemble a magical treasure, mere bait for a deadly trap. Wang Lin looked at Jian, his gaze calm and unreadable. Jian's face turned ugly. He stumbled back several steps and hastily apologized. Junior apprentice brother Wang, I misjudged the sword. A trace of cold cruelty flashed through Wang Lin's eyes. He rarely provoked others, but once provoked he showed no mercy. This was the brutal world of cultivation. The weak did not survive. He took a step forward and extended his right hand. A violent gust of wind shot straight toward Jian. Jian's expression changed drastically. He retreated in panic, shouting, "What is the meaning of this, Wang Lin?" In the narrow confines of the ravine, escape was nearly impossible with his level of cultivation. Even teleportation could not evade a spell imbued with Wang Lin's Dao. Though it could not kill Jian, protected as he was by the All-Seer's life-saving treasure, it blasted him straight toward the ancient tree. At that instant, a piercing shriek erupted from the tree. The ancient tree suddenly collapsed, disintegrating into countless finger-sized flying insects that surged outward like a dense, writhing cloud. How could this be an ancient tree? It was nothing more than an illusion formed from an enormous swarm of insects gathered together. These finger-sized insects were capable of constantly changing color. When they dispersed into clouds, they became extremely difficult to track. With the naked eye, one could hardly distinguish the insect swarm from the cliff itself. Most of the time, by the moment one noticed a blur, the cloud of insects had already lunged forward. The instant they appeared, the insects split into 5 groups and charged straight toward everyone present. Jian's expression changed drastically, his face turning deathly pale. He had personally witnessed how terrifying these insects were. When they had drilled into his puppet's body, both flesh and soul had been devoured in mere seconds. Without the slightest hesitation, Jian slapped his storage bag and took out the life-saving jade bestowed upon him by the All-Seer. This jade had only 3 uses. One had been consumed long ago, this was the second. The jade immediately emitted a radiant rainbow-colored glow that enveloped Jian's entire body. The moment the rainbow light appeared, the insects ceased scattering and instead gathered together. They surrounded the rainbow light tightly, and soon distinct crunching sounds echoed from within. That sound made Jian's scalp go numb. Panic surged through him as he shouted hoarsely, "Save me, brother Murong! Save me!" Murong Zhuo hesitated briefly before forming a seal with his right hand and pressing forward. Celestial spiritual energy surged through his body, condensing into a massive black handprint formed from dense black mist. With a forward thrust, the handprint shot toward Jian, who was completely surrounded by insects. A loud bang echoed. The black handprint passed straight through the insects and even through Jian himself, as if they were nothing more than illusions. It pierced through everything and slammed into the gap in the cliff wall behind him. This bizarre scene caused Zhou's expression to darken instantly. He stared at the insects with an extremely ugly expression. Xiao Yixuan gazed at the insects with deep contemplation. Xu Fei's eyes briefly revealed a calculating glint, but it vanished almost instantly because at that exact moment, Wang Lin's gaze seemed to sweep past her. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. When Wang Lin saw the insects completely ignore Zhou's spell, his eyes immediately lit up. Zhou stepped forward and rapidly formed seal after seal, unleashing spell after spell. Various attacks shot toward the insects, yet without exception, every single one passed straight through them. The crunching sounds continued unabated, while the rainbow-colored light surrounding Jian rapidly dimmed. Despair flickered in Jian's eyes, yet at that critical moment, clarity suddenly returned to his mind. He turned toward Wang Lin and shouted anxiously, "Wang Lin, I know some of Master's secrets. If you save me, I'll tell you everything." Wang Lin completely ignored him and continued observing the insects. These creatures were extremely strange. At first, they had dispersed to attack everyone, yet the moment the rainbow light appeared, they gathered as one. Zhao Yixuan twirled a strand of hair around her finger and spoke softly. "Once these insects finish devouring senior apprentice Brother Du, we'll be next. If we don't leave now, there may not be another chance." At that moment, the rainbow-colored light around Jian suddenly collapsed. His mind shook violently as he immediately activated the final use of his life-saving jade, causing it to shatter. Yet the crunching sounds rang like a death knell in his ears, making his heart pound wildly. Clenching his teeth, Jian shouted the greatest secret buried in his heart. "Wang Lin, I know the secret of your purple division. I know why Sun Yun betrayed Master back then. Save me, and I'll tell you everything." Wang Lin's expression remained calm. He raised his right hand, and an intensely radiant golden light appeared within his grasp, one of the 11 golden symbols from the cave. The golden light blazed like a miniature sun, illuminating all the surrounding darkness. The insects surrounding Jian emitted violent buzzing sounds and immediately charged toward the golden symbol in Wang Lin's hand. Wang Lin's eyes shone. His judgment had been correct. These insects were extremely sensitive to light, or rather they fed on light. He retreated several steps and slapped his storage bag, causing a crystal brush to appear in his hand. With a wave, several more golden symbols manifested. The insects instantly split into groups surrounding each symbol and devouring them. Wang Lin's right hand continued moving, forming one golden symbol after another. There were actually not many insects, only a few hundred. However, due to their fingernail-sized bodies and illusionary nature, they appeared to number in the thousands. They swarmed around more than 10 golden symbols, greedily devouring the radiant light. The scene stunned everyone present, especially the two women. For the first time, Zhao Yixuan and Xu Fei displayed the same expression, shock. That identical reaction did not escape Wang Lin's notice, and it startled him. At last he understood why those two had always given him such a strange feeling. However, there was no time to pursue the matter further. He immediately moved forward, arriving beside Jian, and extended his hand. After all, Jian was a disciple of the All-Seer, the 7th disciple of the Red Division. Though he had yet to reach the ascendant stage, his methods were still formidable. In this moment of crisis, he bit the tip of his tongue and spat out a mouthful of Origin Soul Blood essence. The blood floated in mid-air, boiling violently as it condensed into countless tiny spheres. Even with Wang Lin's cultivation touching them, would result in holes being burned straight through his body. Wang Lin's eyes turned icy. With a wave of his sleeve, the blood was blown aside. Such spells that used Origin Soul Blood essence were not rare, but they were among the most damaging to the caster, exchanging self-harm for killing power. Seizing the opportunity, Jian retreated rapidly. He slapped his storage bag and several pieces of black sarcoma appeared in his hand. Reluctance flickered in his eyes. Though ugly, this black sarcoma was filthy flesh he had refined over decades. Even the slightest contact would cause a cultivator to be invaded by filth. It was an extremely vicious magical treasure. Grinding his teeth, he threw all of it into the air. The sarcoma exploded instantly, releasing a cloud of filth that surged toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's gaze grew colder still. He stepped forward and pointed, causing the underworld river to appear. The black river surged forth and swept all the filthy flesh away. The underworld river was already the filthiest river in existence. Not only did the sarcoma fail to weaken it, it made the river even stronger. Jian was indeed formidable among cultivators of the same realm. With this sarcoma treasure, he would rarely face defeat. However, before someone who possessed their own Dao like Wang Lin, he was utterly unqualified unless he took the final step and broke through into the ascendant stage. Wang Lin's right hand moved like lightning, grabbing Jian, whose eyes were filled with despair. Without asking a single question, Wang Lin activated his celestial spiritual energy and instantly severed Jian's origin soul from his body. He slapped his storage bag and took out a restriction flag. With a wave, countless restrictions flew out, forming a spherical prison identical to the one that had once trapped Yao Shixue. He then tossed it into his storage bag. The entire process was swift and precise. Even though Murong Zhuo wanted to speak, it was already too late. Wang Lin turned around and waved the brush in his hand, causing the golden symbols to return. The insects ignored everything else, mindlessly devouring the golden light. Yet the golden light seemed inexhaustible. No matter how much they consumed, it did not diminish. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed. He extended his left index finger. A finger of death shot out, passing directly through a golden symbol as if it did not exist. This scene, combined with Murong Zhuo's repeated failures, instantly drew everyone's attention. Murong Zhuo's eyes filled with shock as he spoke gravely, "Spell immunity." At those words, greed flickered in Zhao Yixuan's eyes. Xu Fei's expression remained neutral, yet her pupils shrank slightly. Only Murong Zhuo showed no greed, only deep shock. "Fellow cultivators, let us continue," Wang Lin said calmly. Surrounded by more than 10 golden symbols and countless insects, Wang Lin exuded an overwhelming presence. He continued descending. Murong Zhuo followed silently. Zhao Yixuan and Xu Fei hesitated before following as well, deliberately keeping their distance, clearly fearful of Wang Lin. Spell immunity. Wang Lin shook his head inwardly. He did not believe such creatures existed. If a spell had no effect, then the only explanation was that the spell was not strong enough. He gathered Ling Tianho's sword energy into his fingers and touched one insect. The creature trembled violently, but did not die. Shock appeared in Wang Lin's eyes. He had only one strand of Ling Tianho's sword energy left, and even using less than 1% was already his limit. The four continued descending. With Murong Zhuo's assistance, they passed the dangerous areas Wang Lin had previously discovered, using Beilu's crystal, albeit slowly. Zhao Yixuan and Xu Fei also contributed greatly, especially Zhao Yixuan. Her spells were mysterious, often appearing to do nothing, yet their true effects manifested silently. In comparison, Xu Fei seemed somewhat lacking. However, the more Wang Lin observed her, the more certain he became of his suspicions. "So I've actually encountered someone from that sect here." Wang Lin withdrew his gaze and chose not to pursue the matter further. As long as they did not provoke him, he had no intention of exposing their secret. Murong Zhuo's spells, on the other hand, continued to impress Wang Lin. They were incredibly diverse. Wang Lin had yet to see him repeat the same spell even once. Wang Lin believed he could defeat Murong Zhuo, but only at the cost of injury. And if treasures were involved, Murong Zhuo would certainly have his own. If Murong Zhuo's escape techniques rivaled those of the short old man, Wang Lin would be unable to stop him from fleeing. That short old man's origin soul is still sealed in the soul flag. After rescuing Zhou Yi and settling matters here, I must devote time to cultivating those techniques. That day, with Murong Zhuo's help, the two of them finally reached the middle-lower region of the tide abyss. Wang Lin's heart trembled, but he quickly suppressed the feeling. Even Beilu's crystal could not see beyond this point. However, Wang Lin's objective was close. According to ancient demon Beilu, Zhou Yi was somewhere here, though even Beilu could not pinpoint his exact location. Wang Lin clasped his hands. "Brother Murong, I have other matters to attend to. I won't be going further with you." After a moment of thought, he added sincerely, "I'm glad to have met Brother Murong on this journey. If you ever need my help in the future, do not hesitate to ask." Such words were extremely rare from Wang Lin. Though Murong Zhuo spoke little, he never hesitated to act and was never consumed by greed. Murong Zhuo smiled faintly, a rare sight, and nodded before silently descending. After a moment of thought, Wang Lin sent a voice transmission, "Brother Murong, be wary of the two women. If I'm not mistaken, they are from the corpse sect. One of them is likely a corpse with an awakened origin soul." Murong Zhuo showed no outward reaction, yet a flash of vigilance appeared in his eyes as he continued downward. He had heard of the corpse sect, a power far greater than most cultivation nations, with branches everywhere. They were terrifyingly strong. The two women also bid their farewells and descended. As Xu Fei casually played with her hair, a single strand drifted off and attached itself to the cliff. Once the three vanished into the distance, Wang Lin's eyes turned cold. He raised his hand and the strand of hair flew back, caught between his fingers. "So my warning wasn't enough." Wang Lin snorted coldly. He rubbed his fingers together, igniting the hair with green flames. A trace of divine sense emerged, but before it could condense, Wang Lin spat out a mouthful of origin energy. The divine sense instantly collapsed. Far below, Xu Fei's body trembled violently. Blood trickled from the corner of her mouth, and a trace of fear appeared in her eyes. After crushing the strand of hair that contained an almost imperceptible trace of the woman's divine sense, Wang Lin's eyes turned incomparably cold. That divine sense had been concealed with extreme care. Had Wang Lin not already been paying close attention to Xu Fei, it would have slipped past his perception entirely with even the slightest negligence. The corpse sect's techniques are indeed astonishing. Methods for concealing divine sense are always troublesome, Wang Lin thought grimly. It seems I must be even more cautious in the future. That woman Xu Fei was able to project her divine sense, meaning she is the true body. In that case, Zhao Yixuan must be the corpse puppet. Wang Lin fell into deep contemplation. The reason he could identify Xu Fei so decisively stemmed from Sun Tai, the slave Zhou Yi had once forced upon him. Sun Tai possessed a corpse puppet that appeared to be a child, yet it was frighteningly intelligent and possessed an exceptionally high cultivation level. Their relationship had been extremely peculiar. It was not the simple master-puppet bond common among corpse refiners, but rather more like two independent individuals. Thinking of Sun Tai's corpse puppet, Wang Lin could not help but recall Situ Nan. Situ Nan had ultimately taken over that child's flesh. I wonder where Situ is now. Wang Lin mused, a trace of nostalgia appearing in his eyes. He must be on some cultivation planet, living freely, perhaps even reigning as a king among mortals. At that moment, Wang Lin no longer resembled the cold and ruthless fiend feared by countless cultivators, but rather a mortal quietly reminiscing about an old friend. There was also Sun Tai himself, Wang Lin continued inwardly. He was once the head elder of the corpse sect on planet Suzaku. He was cast into the void by the bloodline power of the giant demon clan ancestor. His fate remains unknown. Wang Lin exhaled deeply, gathering his thoughts. His gaze sharpened as he looked toward the countless branching cracks around him. Zhou Yi's aura was nowhere to be found, meaning he would have to search for him personally. Senior Zhou Zi was sealed here by Ling Tianhou. That means the place of sealing must contain Ling Tianhu's aura. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed as his divine sense spread outward, carefully probing the surrounding cracks. After a brief moment, his brows furrowed. He had checked every nearby crack, yet there was still no trace of Zhou Yi. His expression darkened. Wang Lin slapped his storage bag and took out the crystal Bei Lu had given him. His divine sense entered the crystal, but moments later his brows knitted even tighter as he withdrew it. If Bei Lu didn't lie, then this should be where he sensed Zhou Yi. Wang Lin pondered. Bei Lu has no reason to deceive me about something so irrelevant to his own interests. If he truly wanted to act against me, there would be no need for such roundabout schemes. He could have attacked me directly. His current priority is devouring the other ancient demons. Unless, Wang Lin's eyes turned icy, unless he intended to kill me with a borrowed blade by luring me here. His divine sense swept the area once more before he shook his head. If he had claimed Zhou Yi was at the bottom of the tide abyss, that might be plausible. But this area appears far too ordinary. Still unconvinced, Wang Lin expanded his divine sense again, this time searching every crack with even greater caution. The result remained unchanged. After several breaths of silence, Wang Lin slapped his storage bag. The soul flag emerged. With a wave of his hand, 1,000 powerful soul fragments burst forth. He directed them into every crack along the cliff. Closing his eyes, Wang Lin sent his divine sense into each soul fragment. It was as though he himself were entering the cracks, personally inspecting every corner. This time he left nothing unchecked. Half an hour later, the soul fragments returned one by one. Wang Lin opened his eyes, his expression turning extremely ugly. I've searched every nearby crack with utmost care, yet there's still no trace of Zhou Yi. Did ancient demon Bei Lu truly deceive me? Wang Lin's sleeves fluttered as cold light filled his eyes, then his pupils suddenly shrank. Wrong. If I were Ling Tianhou, I would never seal someone in such an obvious location. If I were Ling Tianhou, Wang Lin fell into deep thought. The single remaining strand of Ling Tianhu's sword energy within him began to circulate, allowing him to borrow a sliver of Ling Tianhou's domain. The contemplative look in Wang Lin's eyes slowly vanished, replaced by an overwhelming tyrannical gaze. Ling Tianhou's domain was tyranny itself, using one's own domineering will to defy the heavens and carve a path forward. As the sword energy surged through his body, that tyrannical presence intensified. If I wished to seal a sword spirit that haunted me, Wang Lin thought coldly, I would not simply seal it. I would force it to submit to my tyranny. If it refused, I would seal it for 1,000 years. If it still resisted, 10,000 years. If it continued to resist, then I would destroy its spirit and refine it into a treasure, making it submit. I would never choose these obvious cracks. If I chose this location, there must be a reason. His tyrannical gaze swept across every crack in the cliff. Gradually, the tyrannical aura faded. Large beads of sweat rolled down Wang Lin's forehead. By the time the borrowed domain fully dissipated, his face was deathly pale. The domain contained within Ling Tianhou's sword energy is far too overbearing, Wang Lin muttered, circulating celestial spiritual energy to steady himself. Borrowing even a sliver nearly injured me. He slapped his storage bag, causing the celestial sword to fly out alongside the half-moon blade. Grasping the celestial sword, Wang Lin took a step forward and suddenly spun. Sword energy erupted violently, forming a massive vortex centered on him. Break! With a thunderous roar, Wang Lin halted abruptly. The sword energy vortex shattered, sending countless arcs of sword energy flying in all directions. Cracks spread rapidly across the cliff face, accompanied by continuous cracking sounds. In moments, fractures extended more than 1,000 feet above and below. Crack! Wang Lin's voice boomed through the tide abyss like thunder. More fissures split open, and massive chunks of earth fell from the cliff walls. An entire layer of the abyss wall was shaved away by his sword energy. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed. He unleashed another wave. Sword energy surged again, relentlessly carving into the cliff. After 15 minutes, a small opening finally appeared, and from within it seeped a faint aura. This aura did not belong to Zhou Yi, yet it was filled with absolute tyranny. Wang Lin formed a seal with his right hand and pointed. The celestial sword shot forward with the half-moon blade close behind. Broken rocks rained down as a hidden crack concealed nearly 30 feet within the cliff revealed itself. The opening was narrow, only 5 feet tall, and pitch black. The moment Wang Lin's divine sense attempted to enter, it was violently repelled by an overwhelming tyrannical divine sense. His body was blasted backward, smashing into the opposite cliff wall. A deafening boom echoed as rocks collapsed, leaving Wang Lin's body embedded in stone. Blood surged violently within him, spilling from the corner of his mouth. Wang Lin inhaled deeply, his eyes icy as he pulled himself free. His face turned even paler. That collision of divine senses had nearly shattered his origin soul. Had he not reached the ascendant stage, that single impact would have been enough to annihilate him completely. So powerful, Wang Lin stared at the gap. No matter how deep it goes, Zhou Yi must be inside. The divine sense that struck him belonged to only one person. Ling Tianhou, a mere remnant of his divine sense, is enough to kill cultivators below the ascendant stage. Just what level has Ling Tianhou reached? The peak of late ascendant marks the end of the first step. Only by passing the yin-yang trial can one enter the second step, the 3 Nirvana realms. Nirvana Scryer, Nirvana Cleaner, Nirvana Shatterer, each divided into early, mid, late, and peak stages. The All-Seer once claimed he stood at the end of the second step. By my estimation, he is at the early stage of Nirvana Shatterer. Ling Tianhou has been his rival for tens of thousands of years. Their cultivation levels cannot be far apart. Ling Tianhou should be at the peak of Nirvana Cleaner. A resolute light appeared in Wang Lin's eyes. Compared to such figures, his own cultivation was insignificant. He had not even reached the peak of the first step. Yet Wang Lin remained unwavering. Since stepping into the cultivation world as a boy, he'd relied solely on himself. Now he stood as an ascendant powerhouse, though an ascendant might be nothing more than an ant in the eyes of those of the second step. Among first-step cultivators, such a figure was still one to be feared. Wang Lin took a deep breath and pointed at his forehead. 100,000 strands of slaughter energy erupted forth, transforming into life seals that encircled his body, save for a single strand. He fused that strand directly with his soul. From that moment on, these life seals could never be destroyed unless the final strand within his origin soul was shattered as well. He slapped his storage bag. Devil armor appeared swirling around him as black mist before solidifying into armor. A sinister aura enveloped his body. More than 10 golden symbols, still surrounded by insects, floated around him, forming another layer of defense. After a moment's thought, Wang Lin took out the 1 billion soul flag. With a wave, it unfurled around him. Within it, the roars of more than 100 million soul fragments echoing endlessly. A decisive light shone in Wang Lin's eyes. He took a step forward and charged straight toward the gap. That's all for today's content. See you in the next part. Support me by becoming a member. It will give me more motivation. Thank you so much.